Okay, so in last lecture we have discussed about the two different types of photodetectors, that is p-ion photodiode and avalanche photodiode, right? Now in this lecture we are going to discuss about the phototransistors, right? See, along with diode, phototransistors also can be worked to detect the light and produce the equivalent electrical signal or electric signal in the form of sine waves and all. Okay, now first we will discuss about the structure of phototransistor. Okay, so you can see the schematic diagram of your normal NPN type transistor, but now in this case there will be a different in construction in case of what we can say the junction. Okay, the base junction, base emitter or base collector junction forms, right? So that junction becomes the you can say there is a difference between the construction in your conventional NPN transistor and phototransistor. Here we are using gallium arsenide phosphate or indium phosphide, right? These materials we are using as a dopant to form the heterojunction, or you can say the depletion region in a very simple way, you can say, right? Now the construction wise, if you talk about this phototransistor, then look at figure B. Okay, now so you have photons that is incident on the substrate layer, then you have n type emitter that is of indium phosphide, then you have a base, it is very you can say doped with the indium gallium arsenide phosphide, that is the base, and that is a p type base, and again you have a n type collector region, and after that you have a n type substrate. Okay, so this is the construction features of this phototransistor. Now how actually this phototransistor works? So basically there are a three heterojunction. Now what do you mean by heterojunction, how it is formed, right? So all that things you already know and we have already discussed that. Okay, what do you mean by heterojunction? We have talked about the single heterojunction, then in case of LED you have a double heterojunction structure also. So here also we are using that heterojunction structure. Okay, now the light or the photons, right? That photons or you can say the radiation will incident on the devices, right? That incident photon will be incident on the emitter region, right? It is incident on the emitter region and it is get absorbed in the base, right? Now once that photons get incident on the base region, right? So the base collector, in case of base collector, there is a formation of depletion region. Why there is a base collector? Because the positive terminal is connected to the collector terminal, right? There we are providing a supply. So basically the formation of depletion region forms between the base collector junction, and that is junction is nothing but double sorry heterojunction structure, a single heterojunction structure. Then as the formation of depletion region and we have doped the emitter region heavily, what it will do, it will produce the maximum amount of free electrons so that it will go to the conduction band, it will go to the conduction band and forms the current that will flow from the emitter base, right? So the incident photon will generate the free electrons and that free electrons will contribute in the current formation in case of transistor. See, again I will repeat, if you talk about the working of any photodetector, that will be same. Okay, just difference between in case of diode you have a only p type and n type junction, in case of transistor you will get pn junction attached with each other, and again you have one more heterojunction also. So what is difference between the photodiode and phototransistor? The output produced by the phototransistor will always be a large amount. Why? Because we have a double PN junction attached with each other, or attached back to back, right? The use of heterojunction permits a low emitter base and collector base junction capacitance together with low base resistance. This is also one of the advantage. And again, in case of phototransistor, what will be the optical gain that you will get? So the following equation, it is the optical gain in case of phototransistor. So you have HF divided by E multiplied by collector current and PO, that is the power outputted by that particular transistor. Okay, so this phototransistor gives good emitter base junction efficiency because emitter is heavily doped in case of this phototransistor. Okay, now we are going to discuss some of the important parameters related to the photo detectors. In general, photo detectors, we are now not talking about a particular photodiode or phototransistor. In general, what are different parameters that you should consider to choose a particular photo detector? So first you have to study the response time, right? You have to study the response time. What do you mean by response time? The time required for the detector to respond to an optical input, right? Very simple definition. That means time required to detector to respond to an optical input. In which way it will respond to optical input? By producing a equivalent current or voltage, right? It is a, if it is a photovoltaic type, then it will produce the voltage. It is a photoconduction type, then it will produce the current, depending upon which type of photo detector you are using. But the response time means what? After receiving the input, how much time it will take to produce the output. This is what the response time, right? So in case of optical detector, you have a light as an input, and in respond to that, the equivalent electrical signal will get produced as a output. So this response time, or this it is related to the bandwidth of the detector. This response time, it is somewhat related to the bandwidth of the detector. So it is given by bandwidth is equal to 3.35 divided by TR. This R stands for the response time, right? And how to calculate this response time? So you have to calculate is manually with some experimental setup, right? So it is the response time. Now this diagram shows the response time, right? So some optical detectors will produce the fastest response, some optical detector will produce the sluggish response. So depending upon which type of optical detector you are using, depending upon that, the response time will vary. Okay, now the next parameter is rise time. Okay, what do you mean by rise time? So it is a measure of the photodiode response speed to a stepped light input signal. Okay, that means suppose your optical input or your light signal, it is in the case of pulses, 0 1 0 1, right? Like that. Now in that case, when you are inputted light signal, it is a stepped one or in form of pulses, then the time required for the photodiode to increase its output from 10% to the 90% of the final output level, it is called as the rise time, right? Or in a way, simple way, you can define the rise time as a time required for the photodiode to increase its output from the 10% to a 90%. It is the rise time. Now next parameter, and this is the very important parameter, this is quantum efficiency. Okay, now what do you mean by this quantum efficiency? A photodiode's capability to convert light energy to electrical energy is expressed as a percentage, and it is nothing but the quantum efficiency. Means it's a capability to convert the light energy into the electrical energy, right? Now how it is defined? So efficiency is equal to Re upon Rp. Now what is Re and what is Rp? Okay, and again one more thing that you need to remember is this quantum efficiency, it is depend upon the lambda also. What is lambda? The wavelength of the receiving optical energy, or your optical signal, right? So its absorption coefficient, thickness of the layers, doping, then geometry. That means the what we can say, this quantum efficiency will not depend upon a single factor. It is vary and it will depend upon the multiple factors, right? Such as it will depend upon the wavelength, it will depend upon the absorption coefficient, it will depend upon the thickness that you have used, the doping, which doping material you have used, and its geometry also, right? Now if you talk about the ideal conditions, right, then the high quality silicon photodiode of optimum design would be capable of approaching a quantum efficiency of the 80%. That means maximum 80%, or you can say 85% quantum efficiency can be achieved with the proper design and selection of the photodiode. Okay, now photodiode responsivity, this is the next parameter. Okay, now what do you mean by responsivity, right? So this responsivity is defined as the ratio of radiant energy in terms of watt, that is the P, incident on the photodiode to the photocurrent output in amperes, that is the IP. Okay, that means it is a ratio of radiant energy, that means whatever the energy received by the photodiode, that is the P, and it's divided by, or to the photocurrent that is produced by the photodiode in terms of ampere. That means responsivity is equal to IP divided by P, and unit is ampere per watt. What is IP? The output current in terms of amperes. And what is P? The power in terms of watt, right? The input power to the output current. This is the responsivity. In a simple way, you can say responsivity is nothing but the ratio of input current, output current to the input power. Responsivity is a ratio of output current to the input power. Output current and input power, it is a responsivity, right? So in different photo detectors, you have a different quantum efficiency also. If you have used the uh, what we can say, indium gallium arsenide phosphide, then you will get the different quantum efficiency, different responsivity. If the material changed, then again you will get the different responsivity, and also it varies along with the wavelength also, right? It varies along with the wavelength also. So this is a typical table that shows for which photo detector what will be the wavelength, what will be the responsivity, what will be the dark current, what will be the rise time. Okay, this is the practical table. Okay, so depending upon your application, you have to choose the appropriate photo detector. Okay, if you choose the simple silicon PN diode as a photo detector, right, then from for 550 nanometers to 850 nanometers, it will gives the following or the shown parameters related to a different characteristics. That means its responsivity it is given, then dark current it is given, then rise time it is given. If you have used PIN diode, if you have used with different material, avalanche photodiode with germanium. So this is what the table that shows at what wavelength and for which type of photo detector what are the parameters. That means responsivity, its dark current, its rise time, and all that. Okay, so this is the uh, generalized table which shows for which type of photo detector and for which particular wavelength what are the respective parameters values that you can what we can say you can consider. Okay, and what are that parameters? Its responsivity, dark current, and rise time. Okay, so this is what the all about unit number 4, that is the optical detectors. Okay, now uh, what we have discussed in this unit. Okay, again we will summarize this entire unit in brief. We have started with the principles of optical detectors, how optical detectors works. It is basically based on the absorption principle. Then we have discussed about the different types of optical detectors, that is the photovoltaic, photoconduction and photoemissive type. Then we have discussed the different optical detectors that are used in the practice, right? Different photodiodes, phototransistor. In case of photodiodes, we have discussed about the two types of optical detectors, p-ion photodiode and avalanche photodiode. Then we have discussed about the phototransistor and its working principle. Then we have talked about the different parameters related to the optical detectors, such as rise time, responsivity, quantum efficiency, right? Then response time. So these are the major parameters that you should consider for the proper selection and usage of the optical detector. And then now we have discussed about the some of the uh, practically used optical detectors with its different parameters, such as responsivity, dark current and rise time. Okay, so this is all about the unit number 4, that is optical detector. uh, and we have finished with this unit. Okay, so probably in next lecture we will start with the next unit, that is unit number 5. If you have any query or doubt related to this unit, you can ask me right now.